wrong Zoom. So we are on verse number, I'll just do the last verse that we did verse number 5 last. So Bismillah, we are on Surah Balad, verse number 5. Ayahsabu, okay, let's go to verse number 4. لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي كَبَدٍ. Certainly we have created human beings, especially those who disbelieve, فِي كَبَدٍ, in toil, hardship. Ayahsabu, does he think, this generic human being, and that lan, not yaqdira, will have power alayhi, upon him, over him, ahadun, anyone? Does he think that anyone, like no one will have power over him? Yaqulu, he says, ahlaktu, I have destroyed, malan, I have destroyed what? Wealth. What type of wealth? Lubada. So if you look up the word labada, you look at labada, what do we find? We find that labada on the first bab, I'm looking at the, or labida, or labada, labadun, labida means to stuck, to be stuck, to be clave, to adhere, when something sticks to something. If we go a bit further, labada means when one thing sticks to another thing, and actually means when you have pieces of wool and you push the wool together, it becomes like a mass of wool. Like different strands are pushing together and it becomes a mass of something. You with me? Because it's good to get into the meaning of the word. So the word, otherwise everything just looks the same. Because labada looks like the same as like kathir, like all of those things. So when you think of labada, you think of wool coming together and making like a big something big, base, a big collection of wool. We find here also is an interesting one here, where he has labida. Labidatun is the mass of hair between the shoulder blades of the lion. You know when he has that clump of hair at the back here, is that the main? That's the back part here between the shoulder blades. He has that clump of hair. That is the labida. So labida means like when it's a lot of something pushed together. So when this person brags, he says, ahlaktu malan. How did he destroy his wealth? A whole lot one time. A whole lot one time. In fact, you find Arab poetry of Jahiliyyah about how they became drunk and they brag. They become drunk in Jahiliyyah and they say, I was so drunk, I spent so much in one night. So when Allah uses the word ahlaktu, what's the implication of how the wealth was spent? It was futile spending. It wasn't something worthwhile, because you can spend lots of money on something worthwhile. You can buy a house, for example, buy a car, something worthwhile. This person here, ahlaktu, they just made it perish. How much they make perish? Lubada, a whole clump of money, a whole collection of money, they just made it perish. Is something we find in real life? When people get very rich. In fact, I was reading this article, this guy was complaining about Cape Town. Foreign guy. He was complaining about Cape Town because he couldn't spend enough money in one night. How much was the amount? Did you see the article? No, it was more that he was trying to spend like, I don't know what, he was trying to spend like a 3,000-4,000 a night. He's saying like, I can't find restaurants more expensive enough. I can't, I need to, Cape Town is not. Can you see this is what is? When you get to the ultra wealthy, they don't brag about how they spend money on worthwhile stuff. They will brag about how they spend money on irrelevant stuff. Sometimes even have this food for the ultra rich. Then they pay for one pizza 30,000 rand. And that usually, I Google this stuff. Man. You ask ChatGPT, there is like a whole alternative world for the ultra rich. There's like for the normal people, there's for the ultra rich. And for the ultra rich is how you can sell the most insignificant stuff for the highest, like literally like plates of food for like tens and thousands of rands. 30,000, 40,000 rand. Yeah. Even some apartments in Cape Town in December are going for like 500,000 a night. 500,000 a night. Lubada. So this is not like a new thing. This is Jahili thing. Is that because now You see what happens if you can brag about spending a lot of money on something worthless, that's like a power play move. You know what I mean? Okay, so I've bought a jacket, only cost me 200,000 rand. You know what I mean? It's like a power move, you know what I mean? Like so this is the like this is like for me like the sociology of Quran. Like the stuff that we see now, the host has disabled screen sharing. Why is the host disabling me? I'm not the host. The other me is the host. Okay. Anyway, I'm not going to share, it's fine. You can still hear me. So those who can hear, sure. So, أهلكت مالا لبدا. No, it's not sharing. Oh, now I'm the host again. This is another reason to come to class. We can put off the... No, I'm joking. No, we are in Okay. So I find this an interesting social commentary, and I think that you know there are levels to this. Meaning what? That yes, we can speak about the outrage, but yes, we can also sometimes do it on like a lower level. Like say you like families are different. Meaning what? Wealth, families are different. The one sibling sometimes very wealthy, the other sibling is struggling. It's not like sensitive for you for someone struggling to say that I went here and I spent like 3,000 rand here on this food and I went here on this. You know what I mean? Like it's not a sensitive thing. So I think we must be very careful about even our discourse and even our way of thinking also. Like you get trapped in your social circles. You start thinking like your social circles, where the abnormal becomes normal. Where the abnormal becomes normal. Therefore, it's always very good to be in touch with the poor, or in touch with the ordinary people, because it gives you a perspective on life. But this is the attitude why? Malan lubada. Can you see the first verse before this about what? About power. Allah yaqdir alayhi ahad. No one will take power of him. He thinks that. Second thing is about wealth. Alam ayahsabu. Does he think? Anlam. That not. Yarahu. That not sees him. Ahadun. Anyone. Does he see? Does he not? Does he think that no one sees him? Alam naj'al lahu aynayn. Alam did not naj'al, did we not make lahu for him aynayn. What's aynayn? Two eyes. Eyes obviously are indication towards sight. Sight are indication towards what? Sight is about the idea of like unveiling. Mukashafa, unveiling. Meaning what is that when you have sight, you can see something. And when you can see something, you can see the surfacing, you can see beyond as well. It is you can see the ayah, you can see the meaning behind the ayah. Do we not give for him sight? Therefore, the ulama of Aqidah, which we'll do, I think next time or third term, inshallah. The ulama of Aqidah say that not you, all human beings can come to the realization of Allah Ta'ala without revelation. You with me? All human beings can come to what? To the knowledge that Allah exists without revelation. Because if you quote revelation to prove Allah Ta'ala, you're actually entering into a circular argument. Because your quoting already presupposes the divine being. You with me? So we do next year, inshallah, when it comes to Aqidah, of course. And part of that is what? Aynayn. The fact that if you look, you will see the truth. If you look, we will see the truth. Because it's really hard to believe that once upon a time there was nothing. I saw this quote about Rahman in his update. Once upon a time there was nothing. And then we have to believe that nothing caused nothing to produce something. Nothing caused nothing to produce something. No generative beginning. Alam naj'al lahu aynayn. So aynayn is mukashafa, aynayn is the ability to see and the ability to discover the truth. To see the ayat of Allah Ta'ala. What's this? Verse number 7. Ayahsabu. Does he think? And that Lam has not, yarahu has not or does not see him. Fa'il for yarahu ahadun. Does he think that does not see him anyone? Does he think that no one sees him? Does he think that no one sees him? Alam naj'al lahu aynain. Alam did not naj'al, did we not make lahu for him aynain, two eyes. Wa lisanan wa shafatain. And a lisan, what's a lisan? A tongue. And shafatain, two lips. What does the tongue and two lips refer to? Speaking. Have you ever tried to speak without your lips? My kids have this game, you put something in your mouth and then keep your lips open. It's not something I do in public. But it's very hard to speak without your lips. Like your mouth always open. What is that, guys? Yes. La ilaha illallah. Have you ever tried to speak without your tongue? Can you speak with your lips and no tongue? So when Allah says, Alam naj'al lahu aynayn wa lisana wa shafatain, Allah speaking about kalam, clearly. So why speak about kalam? If the first one is about mukashafa, unveiling the truth, seeing the signs of Allah Ta'ala, what's the second part about? It's about speaking the truth. It's about speaking that which is good, speaking that which is true. Because what is he saying? He is saying what? Ahlaktu mana lubada. That's his speech. Meaning what Allah created him not for that speech. Allah created him for the speech of truth. وَهَدَيْنَاهُ, and we, Allah, hadayna. Hada means to show a path. Hada means to show a way. We showed him, hadaynahu, we showed him. What did we show him? Najdain. Let's look at Najdain as, I don't even have it, you see. A naj, okay, najada means to overpower, conquer, prevail, surpass. You see that naj there? Yeah, that naj. A high elevated land or country, hard and rugged, an elevated high table, only stony, and so on. Normally, when they say naj, they mean it is an elevated place, but not as elevated as a mountain. It's not like a high, like a mountain, but it's an elevated place, like it's an elevated place. When Allah says an elevated place, what do you gather from that? If it's like an uphill journey, what do you gather from that? It must be, it's a hard road. How many hard roads are there? Any? How many hard roads? Alam naj'al lahu wa hadaynahu najdain. But what are the two? What are those two hard roads? It's going to be belief or disbelief. Almost like the Surah Al-Shams. فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا. The fujur and taqwaha. وَإِمَّا شَاكِرًا وَإِمَّا كَفُورًا. Meaning what? That human beings have the ability to walk two paths. What I find significant, Allah described both of those paths as what? Paths of ascent. Which I find profound. Why? Because both paths require is hard. Both paths, even the path of good is not easy. The path of good is also hard work. It's not like an easy path, like a nafsi path is like an easy path. But a path of good is a hard work. You must pray, you must hold yourself, it's hard work. And the path of evil is hard work. Meaning what? It might in the moment seem easy, but there's an outcome it's almost like there's a path, but there are pitfalls. You're gonna feel like it's a nice, easy path, but there are pitfalls. Meaning what? Both paths are actually najdain. Both paths are paths that are difficult to walk. فَلَقْتَحَمَ الْعَقَبَةَ. فَلَا. So not. اقتحم. What are the root letters there? What's it? Qa, fa, ha, ma. Which bab is it on? Before.
8.
You see, they're still settling with the bab secretaries. It's not what bab is on. Which bab is on? I don't think they have kahama in the dictionary here. Fahama here. Ifta'ala. Iqtahama. It's going to be the 8th bab. Remember the 7th bab have the noon in fa'ala. The 8th bab is ifta'ala iqtahama. Iqtahama. So here he has on the 7th bab to push, to the right, to introduce, to squeeze, to plunge, rush, hurtle, break, break forth. Iqtahama, according to the tafsir, means to attempt an ascent. Like to attempt an ascent. Ascent. Fala, so not iqtahama. He does not attempt to go where? Al-aqaba. What's aqaba? Aqaba is the what?
Steep path.
It's a steep path. Yeah, there's a place called Aqaba, but this is not that place. Aqaba is a steep path. I find this like very interesting. Why? Because Allah says that there, وَهَدَيْنَاهُ نَجْدَيْنِ. There before humans, there is some sort of ascent, two sorts of ascent. But when you look at the two sorts of ascent, Allah then says later on, فَلَقْتَحَمَ الْعَقَبَةَ. When he's faced with these two paths, why does he not attempt to go up the Aqaba? Which one is the Aqaba? The easy one or the harder one? The steeper one. The steeper one, the harder one, the more difficult one. But why is it called steeper? Yeah, it's coming here. Fakku raqaba, to free the slave, to free the poor. So the aqaba is the good path. Meaning what the aqaba here is the steep path. But with regard to ascent. Remember this person is absorbed in what? They're absorbed in their nafs. What did the nafs say that before this? The nafs said this: no one has power over me. No one sees me. I have so much wealth, I can just squander it. You find that when someone is absorbed in the nafs, it actually becomes the path of least resistance. Meaning what? You just do whatever comes easy to a person. It's a path of least resistance. And the harder path actually, and the hardest part actually, is the path that you overcome your own nafs. Because now Allah is going to speak about freeing the slave. I was speaking about feeding the poor, taking care of the orphan. What is it? What does that require? That requires you what? To take your time, to take your wealth, to take your power, to take your influence, and to direct it to something good. Is that easy or is it difficult? It sounds like nice. But when last have we fed someone? When last have we cared for an orphan? When last have we visited the sick? Like, it sounds like you agree with it. Yes, we agree. But how often do we actually do it? When last you watch Netflix? Least resistance. Easy path. So the nafsi things come easily. The good things take work. The good things are the aqaba. Allah is saying, فَلَقْتَحَمَ الْعَقَبَةَ. This person didn't even attempt. They didn't even attempt to walk the right path, the steep path. The path that requires them a bit of difficulty, but there's goodness in it. Is there a reason the door is closed? I'm just wondering. Is it? Yeah. Is it Jama'ah there? Okay. I thought there must be a reason, because I didn't think you enjoy the sauna effect. Yeah, okay. Oh, there's a Jama'ah there. وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا الْعَقَبَةُ. So even as we didn't know Aqaba, when Allah says وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا الْعَقَبَةُ, let's look at the word Aqaba as well. Ain Qaf Ba. A lot of this is going to be about following and so on. To follow, I'm not sure that anything was steep here. Your Aqib is your heel. Aqaba here. Aqaba, a steep road, a steep incline, a pass, a mountain. You see that anything interesting here? Aqib. Yes, Aqba. Let's not do the turns. Okay, we can check it inshallah. But Aqaba means a steep path. Then Allah asks, وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا الْعَقَبَةُ. So when Allah asks that question, مَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا الْعَقَبَةُ, it's an indication that the word Aqaba wasn't clear to the Arabs. It's an indication that the word Aqaba wasn't clear. Like فَلَقَدْ تَحْمَلْ Aqaba. They would be like saying, is Aqaba a place there? Like what is Aqaba? What is a steep path? Allah then says, وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ. What will adra? What's adra? To make you know what bab is on? Fourth. Ma'adi Mudari. Ma'adi Mudari. What's the Mudari of it? Yudri. Adra. Yudri. Strange way to put it, right? Wama, because you don't expect Wama Yudrika Mal Aqaba. Like what will make you know? This is Wama Adraka. What has made you know Mal Aqaba? You find that there are certain things in life. When someone tells you that, then you can't unknow it. Like it's a fact someone gives you. Like for example, someone tells you the capital of South Africa is Pretoria. Like it's a fact someone gave you, which you don't have to like understand or unpack. It's like a fact that has been delivered to you, and now you know it. So that process of you knowing it is the process of adra, is the process of you coming to know something. The process of yudri is a process of uncovering. So what you find in the Quran is Allah uses the adra sometimes, Allah uses yudri sometimes. What you find generally is when Allah uses adra, Allah Himself will give you the answer. When Allah uses adra, Allah will give you the answer. When Allah uses yudri, He doesn't give you the answer. Meaning what? When He gives you adra, you come to know it and then you know it. When you use yudri, He asks you the question, He doesn't answer it. So you're always trying to know it. Like Allah says, ask you can help me. وَمَا يُدْرِيكَ لَعَلَّ سَاءَ. The other one that says Abasa, the other one, but the Sa'a. وَمَا يُدْرِيكَ لَعَلَّ سَاعَةَ قَرِيبًا. Like what will make you know that the hour is coming close? It's a question. Well, it doesn't give you the answer. So the yudri in the mudari is almost like you perpetually be in questioning. When's the hour coming? But here, when I think what is aqaba, the next verse tells me fakku raqaba. Meaning what? That the answer is coming immediately. And when the answer comes immediately, I know it. And then it's like adra. I've come to know it. You with me? So adra is generally going to be for an answer Allah is going to give me. Allah says, وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا الْأَقَبَةِ, and what will adra will make you come to know mal aqaba, what is this steep path. Allah says here, fakku raqaba. Fak means to free. So there's going to be a jumla is mudaf today, the freeing of raqaba. What's a raqaba? It actually means neck.
Neck.
But neck is actually referring to what? Like if you have someone with a neck, like you own them. So it's actually
Into the slave.
actually a slave, but it means like someone's neck. So it literally means like the freeing of a neck. But you mean someone freeing someone from slavery. I want to mention that Islam generally gets a very bad rap for slavery. Islam gets a bad rap for in the media because almost like Muslims we like slaves. But what is the reality? The reality is that Islam comes into a world that has certain phenomena. What phenomena are there? There's slavery, there's riba, there's a bearing of orphans, there's intoxication, there's all of these things. And what does Islam do? Islam comes and it speaks about the real world. It doesn't give you like an utopian imaginary world. It speaks about the real world and tells you how to navigate the real world. So one of the things is Islam didn't invent slavery. Muslims were like, let's create slavery. Islam entered into a world where slavery was existent already. What did Islam do? Islam restricted greatly the ways that you could become a slave. Meaning what, if you can think of the slave as a slave pool, Islam closed the entrances to the slave pool. What else did Islam do? It made lots of ways for people to free slaves. It encouraged it. This is one of this here. The first thing Allah saying, aqaba is fakku raqaba. Is that slave pool, you must pay someone and exit them out of the slave pool. So now the big question is, why didn't Allah just ban slavery from the beginning? Because in the end, what happens to the pool when you limit the entry and you open the exits? The pool becomes empty. The second thing about slavery is that it's not like a slavery like we think of like a Western slavery. Like someone in chains and you're pulling them and they're beating them. It's not like that. A traditional society, there's no police force in the traditional society. So how do you stay safe in the traditional society? Like when something goes wrong in Mecca, what do? You call SAPs. They don't come here, they won't come there. You rely on the power of your tribe. You rely on the power of your tribe. Meaning what? It's a tribal power balance of power. Meaning what? No one will mess with you because they mess with you, they're messing with their whole tribe. And they're messing with someone else, they're messing with their whole tribe. So often what happens is a warfare, you conquer people. These people are, maybe the men are killed and there's like random people you have to. What do you do with the random people? They can't like live alone because that's not how it works. So they basically absorb them into their tribal structure. And when they absorb them into the tribal structure, if you read the hadith says what? Clothe your slave with that which you wear. Give your slave to eat with that which you eat. Don't overburden your slave. Meaning, what must you do of the slave? You must give them accommodation, you must give them food, you must give them clothing, you must help them if the work is too much. You're basically taking care of them and you're absorbing them into your tribal structure, into your protection, and they're working as an exchange. You with me? And then Islam says, if they want to be free, free them. Like fakku raqaba is the encouragement. Don't try to hold them there. Try to free them. And this is the reality of how the society was. So it's very hard for us to sometimes think about like our century here, people living in apartments and flats, and why did you put a slave in an apartment somewhere? It's not like that. The world wasn't like that. It was a tribal structure. And the other part of it also was that a lot of people's wealth were in slavery as well. It was invested in slaves. Generally, what happens if you come to society and you dispossess people of their wealth, it actually creates social instability. Why? Because imagine someone comes to you and says, everybody with more than one house will take it away from you. Anyone with more than one car will take it away from you. It creates what? Social instability. So Islam basically managed the transfer of wealth so that those who had slaves were still paid for it. They kept their wealth, and society was basically remained stable, as opposed to many other places where they tried to end slavery and end lots of bloodshed. So this is basically briefly about our idea of slavery, which is often very controversial and discussed quite a lot with regard to Muslims. Fakku raqab. I think that's in there, inshallah ta'ala, and I think in the next lesson we'll hopefully finish the surah bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. May Allah bless and protect. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.